Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. And once again, I have my older brother, EJ Jones, with me on this edition. What's going on, E?
What's up? What's up? What's up, Who That Nation? What's up, TJ? Just chilling,
Yeah, man.
trying to stay clear of coronavirus.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, I think a lot of people are, trying to do the same thing. And, I'm always telling people, to stay healthy, and stay home. If you don't have to go out, don't go out. I mean, it's just as simple as that. I know, man, you get like cabin fever because you at home, but I'd rather be at home knowing that I'm not going to be sick than, going out here trying to risk it. But, man, thank you so much, man. I know you're down there in New Orleans. It's a little bit crazy out there. I know a lot of things are going on, but thank you very much for your time. And, man, as much crazy stuff that we have going on right now, it's time for us to, just escape that for a little while and talk a little bit about the team that we all love, which is the New Orleans Saints. Now, the hot topic that has been going on in the Who That Nation, a lot of people have been emailing me, inboxing me, and they wanted me to answer this question for them. And it has something to do with Alvin Kamara and him possibly being traded. Now, I've seen a couple articles that came out that talked about Alvin Kamara being traded. One team, excuse me, was the Buffalo Bills. The other team was even the Kansas City Chiefs. So, EJ, I'm going to go ahead and start it with you. What do you think about the trade rumors involving running back Alvin Kamara?
I mean, it looks like we're not the only people with cabin fever, pretty much. Uh, Alvin Kamara, the two-time Pro Bowler,
Mm-hmm.
he's a running back in his prime.
Yeah.
He's not going nowhere. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it is just stuff to entertain it with somebody just, coming up with these, scenarios or whatever to get people excited,
Right.
get people, wanting more for football season or whatever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take this with a grain of salt,
Mm-hmm.
sugar, cinnamon, any of those other condiments of or seasonings or whatever. So
Right.
I wouldn't take that too seriously. El Camaro is just fine. You can still eat your airheads in peace. You don't have to worry about him getting traded to the Chiefs or nowhere like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy, man. Shouts out to looking at some of these names here on Facebook. Facebook.com, search the State of the Saints podcast is where you can find us. A lot of people. Shouts out to Prime Time. I'm looking at other people, on here as well. Joseph, he's talking about Alvin Kamara. Prime Time, talk about Alvin Kamara. I mean, so many people in the Who That Nation are genuinely concerned by this. And I mean, honestly, I didn't really think that much of it. I think a lot of people are putting way too much stock into how Alvin Kamara played last season. A lot of people think that it was a down season for him, and I don't know, man. Sometimes we in the Who That Nation, we get a little bit impatient, man. I mean, we got to be careful with that. I think Alvin Kamara is a really good running back, and I think the Saints realized that they had a really good find in the third round, getting him, man. And you don't let people go that you compare to running backs like Marshall Faulk. And there was one person that Sean Payton said Alvin Kamara's rookie season that he reminds him of. I think that Alvin Kamara is one of those guys that's going to be with the Saints. I mean, you never know. I mean, you think that a guy's going to be, a lifer with a team, but he ended up getting traded. But I don't see him leaving after his fourth season. I don't see that happening. I think that he is still going to be with the New Orleans Saints. I think he is very, very important to the offense that the Saints try to run. And I don't think you try to get guys like that out of the door. I think you try to make sure that you accommodate those type of guys. And I don't see the Saints as being one of those cheap franchises. Like back in the day, yeah, we can make an argument. Tom Benson didn't want to pay guys. You remember that, when they had free agents like Joe Johnson, Leroy Glover, Sammy Knight, he didn't want to pay those guys. And, those guys were big contributors for the defense, but we don't have that type of issues now. You look at owner Gail Benson, you look at Sean Payton, they try to keep guys. The only problem I ever seen them not keeping guys is when guys end up being kind of like locker room cancers. I mean, we talk about Akeem Hicks, you know what I mean? He came out, had an interview in the locker room. He was talking, about Sean Payton kind of dissing him. We know about Junior Gillette, with the ghost tweet. He had a ghost account on Twitter. talking about Sean Payton and allegedly him taking pills. I mean, it has to have something to do with a person being controversial. You can even make an argument for Brandon Cooks being upset after that Rams game where the Saints blew out the Rams, but he said he wanted to get traded when he didn't have any catches. I think the Saints try to accommodate these players, especially guys like this, that can be contributors to the team for the long haul. But let's just go ahead and play devil advocate, just for entertainment purposes, because I mean, I don't think that this is actually factual at all. But if you could pick a team that you can see the Saints possibly trading with for Alvin Kamara, who would it be?
Well, off the top of my head, I don't really have a team, but I know a team will have to have one.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have a need for a running back, obviously.
Yeah.
Two, they have to have the draft picks, and three, they have to have the cap space.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of teams in the league right now.
Yeah.
Whatever.
True.
Even the bad teams or whatever. The Jets, that's one of the worst teams in the league. They
Le'Veon
got
Bell.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, they're the worst team in the league. They got Drew Mixon.
Yep.
So it's kind of hard to see where somebody would recruit. I imagine a lot of teams would see Kamara as an upgrade.
Right.
Maybe a team like the Chiefs probably would see Alvin Kamara as an upgrade.
Right.
Would they really be willing to give up 2 or 3 first-round picks for multiple years for Alvin Kamara for a running back?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't put a lot of stock or a lot of value into running backs no more. If you notice,
Yeah.
usually when they get around 28, 30 years old, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what they did to Todd Gurley?
Yep.
They want production right now out of a running back. If you don't give them that production, you don't give them that value, they feel like they can find a running back late rounds or something like that.
Yep. I 100% agree with you on that. But I think about if I could pick a team, to be honest with you, it will probably have to be the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins is a team that really needs a running back. I mean, they got rid of Kenyon Drake earlier in the season. They sent him to Arizona. And I can see a scenario in which the Saints could possibly trade Alvin Kamara for a first-round pick, and that pick being Tua Tagovailoa. If the Saints want to go that route, because a lot of people are comparing Tua to Drew Brees, saying that he's a left-handed version of Drew Brees. Now, I mean, like I said, this is way far-fetched. I don't see this happening, but I can see that the Miami Dolphins could possibly try to get somebody like Alvin Kamara. Also, another team that I think that would be in the running to possibly get him, surprisingly, would be the Los Angeles Rams. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody like that, but the Rams don't have the draft capital to even try to consider getting Alvin Kamara. All of the picks and stuff like that. I think they tried to, go to Vegas, put it all on black. You're getting all these, big time players, big time contracts, and end up biting them in the butt. Paying Jared Goff a big time contract, paying Aaron Donald a big contract. Then you got Jalen Ramsey out there. He's going to get a big time contract if he hasn't already. So I mean, you kind of shot yourself in the foot, and not to mention the production of Cooper Kupp. You're going to have to end up having to pay him soon. So that's another team, but I just don't see it, man. I just don't see, and you hit the nail on the head. I just don't see teams trying to trade for a running back, because I think a lot of teams look at running backs as one of those, positions where anybody can be a running back. You know what I'm saying? As long as you can run in between the tackles and catch out of the backfield. Yeah, Alvin Kamara brings a different type of dynamic, because unlike most running backs who possibly just run screen plays and possible wheel routes, you can line Alvin Kamara up, in the slot, and he can run like wide receiver type routes. So I mean, yeah, that's a great, asset to have, but I don't see teams going out here trying to put it all on black once again. In order to try to get somebody like Alvin Kamara. I think that a lot of people in the Who Dat Nation are afraid. They like Alvin Kamara. He did have a down season once again. A lot of people weren't happy with the production of Alvin Kamara, but I will say this, man. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he's been in the league. This is going on his fourth year. 2 years of production, 1 year of downtime. I think we can give him the benefit of the doubt. He came out and said he played the entire season about 70+% healthy. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt once again. I think that he will bounce back. I think he'll have a better season. I just think that us in the Who That Nation, we're starting to really allowing these draft rumors or trade rumors to kind of percolate because of the lack of production that Alvin Kamara had last season. But the Saints aren't like the Cleveland Browns. They're not like the New York Jets. I mean, the Saints aren't really that cutthroat when it comes to those players. I just don't see it, unless he played for the Houston Texans or something like that. Bill O'Brien, the GM. You got you
Yo,
got
yo,
to you got to protect your neck and watch
yeah,
yourself at all times, man. Who would have thought that DeAndre Hopkins would have got traded? I mean, my goodness,
you
man. But
traded the
uh,
best receiver in the league. This boy was 100 on Madden. For
right,
goodness sake,
right,
this dude most there's no quarterback in the league that can stick this guy.
yeah,
This dude
true.
got stickums on his hands. He
Mm-hmm.
catches everything you throw to him. You make
Yeah,
all the acrobatic catches,
yep,
and you get and you trade the dude. That's
yeah,
the stupidest move I've seen in the last 5 or 10 years. I can truly say that.
yeah. I just don't know. I mean, this isn't even like one of those like Dallas Cowboys type things where they gave away their whole team for Herschel Walker. They traded with the Minnesota Vikings. It's not like that. This is I don't know. This is just pure stupidity in my opinion.
That would make sense
Eh,
if they was to do something like that, though. Like
yeah,
if you was to give up one player for multiple draft picks, more
yeah,
like multiple first round draft picks,
yeah, yeah,
I can see that.
yeah,
If he wasn't a playoff team, but we about a top five, top six team in the AFC,
yeah,
and you're your best player. I know people like J.J. Watt. They love J.J. Watt. They think he MVP. DeAndre Hopkins was the best player on that team.
yep,
Yeah, I don't care what nobody say.
yep,
You're the most dominant player on that team, and you get rid of him.
yeah. I think.
And
Mm-hmm. No, you can go
there
ahead.
you go.
No, I was just going to say, I was looking at, DeAndre Hopkins, and I just think that it's, suffice that he ended up going to a team like the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals team for years, the mainstay was Larry Fitzgerald, a guy who, no matter who the quarterback was, still was productive. And I look at DeAndre Hopkins before Watson got there, man. It was plug and play at the quarterback position, man. But one thing was a constant was him being productive on the field. So, I just feel like it's a little bit ironic that he goes to a team that and is going to play with a player that basically has the same narrative as him. A constant in the league. No matter what quarterback you put in place, he'll be able to play. But I think they have some better stability now out there in Arizona with Kyler Murray. But man, it just didn't make any sense. I know it's the State of the Saints podcast, and we kind of drift off, but I mean, really, man, that's just crazy. But I will say this: speaking of the Houston Texans, and speaking of Saints, former New Orleans Saint Brandon Cooks looked like he's going to Houston. This is according to sources right now. A lot of people thought that Brandon Cooks was going to end up back in New Orleans. I seen some articles on that too. I don't know, man. I'm kind of glad Brandon Cooks didn't find his way back to New Orleans. I like Brandon Cooks coming out of college. I did kind of predict that he was going to end up getting drafted by the Saints. I mean, it's crazy. I seen him out there at Oregon State, but man, he's not the same player. Ever since that Super Bowl when Malcolm Jenkins knocked his lights out, it seems like he can't stay on the field. He has concussion issues, and I think he's like one concussion away from being in Austin Collie type territory, where, the teams don't want to touch you, what I'm saying? Because they're going to look at you as damaged goods. But I'm hoping he can resurrect his career and get back on track with the Houston Texans. But what are your thoughts about Brandon Cooks, man? What do you think about Brandon Cooks? The thought about him possibly joining the Saints and him going to the Texans.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's just only a concussion thing or it's a locker room thing. I mean, this guy about to play for his 14 the last what 5,
five-year?
6 years
Yeah, man,
almost.
that's crazy.
I mean, I mean, this dude got some stick lines coming from him for real.
Yeah,
I mean, he got some hazard lines. I mean, I mean, if he was chicken, he'd be spoiled, bro. We
Yeah.
have to smell that boy. See if he, good enough to eat.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, this dude. I mean, nah, man. I wouldn't buy the Saints, stuff it back in that water or whatever to
Right.
get him. I like the fact that they got somebody like Emmanuel Sanders, somebody that
Yeah.
could be a mentor to the receivers that they already have,
Right.
somebody that's been a Pro Bowler. I mean, somebody that Lord knows he torched the Saints last year.
Oh yeah,
So
man.
why not have somebody like that on your team?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I like Emmanuel Sanders much better than Brandon Cook. Brandon Cooks has take the top off speed, but he doesn't give you any type of yak, no yards after the catch. That's something that I feel like the Saints needed, and I think that when it came down to it, when they had that decision, when they seen how good Michael Thomas was becoming, they made that decision. It looked like they made the right decision, in my opinion. If you look at whose
Mm-hmm.
career is better, I mean, what Michael Thomas, two-time first-team All-Pro, been to the Pro Bowl every single year he's been in the league, for the exception I think
NFC
his
Offensive
rookies.
Player of the Year
Yeah,
last
offensive
year.
player of the year at the wide receiver position, first time in 17 years. I mean, you tell me who won out of it out of the exchange, but
Hmm.
yeah, but I hope he bounces back, man. Real talk. Right now we're gonna go ahead and answer some questions from the Who Dat Nation. You ready? E?
Yeah, man.
Okay, man. This question right here is coming from Simba. Shouts out to Simba, man. Simba always sends questions, so thank you very much. He says, should the Saints embrace using both Taysom and Drew in the game by splitting snaps? I love me some Taysom, so I might be a little biased, but I think that it would unlock a whole new system for this offense. E, what do you think about the Saints using both Drew Brees and Taysom Hill at quarterback?
Last year I didn't mind it because we had old Teddy Bridgewater. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I didn't mind it at all. So Taysom Hill, he could stand to be on the field, run for like 40 yards, or
Right,
throw a 50-yard pass. But I mean, it's a different ball game. Like you don't have Teddy Bridgewater back there to throw the ball. It's
right,
Drew and Taysom.
right.
So if you had those two in the game, if one of them get hurt, hell, if Taysom get hurt,
Yeah,
who's going to be Drew backup quarterback?
that's a good point.
Nobody knows. I don't even know who the Saints quarterback is on a practice squad, even if they have one.
They don't.
So unless they plan on drafting one, I tell you, the Saints usually keep through the season. They usually keep two quarterbacks. They
Right,
don't keep three. They
right,
keep two quarterbacks, and they usually have about 8 to 10 wide receivers.
right,
This year, I think it may be different. I think he might have maybe 7 or 8 wide receivers and maybe 3 quarterbacks. I
right.
got a feeling they probably will draft a quarterback. And then somebody, I don't know, maybe in the first round. I think I got a strong feeling that they're going to draft a quarterback. But them two on the field at the same time, whew, I don't know. Just because I don't know don't mean it probably won't happen, but I wouldn't do it. That's my personal opinion. Not this year.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Payton already came out and said that he's going to continue to use Taysom Hill like he's been in the previous years. So that answers the question right there. In my opinion, with him saying that, he's saying that he's going to get a third quarterback. So it's rather he's going to get one in the draft, like you just mentioned, or they're going to get someone in free agency. From the looks of it, I kind of put two and two together. E. We all know that the Saints are very meticulous. They're very, like they're very methodical. You know what I'm saying? Like they do their due diligence, and it's really no surprise to what they do. They might wow you every now and then. Somebody might come through, but I look at it like this. The Saints had the opportunity to go out here in free agency to sign one of these quarterbacks, and they didn't. I need the Who That Nation to put two and two together with this, okay? I know if Sean Payton comes out and says that he is going to use Taysom Hill like he did last year, that tells you right there you got to carry yourself a third quarterback. He has yet to
Yep.
sign another quarterback in free agency. We got to think about this now. The Saints could easily have done this. We've seen this in previous years when they went out there and they hurry up and got Chase Daniels. They went out here and got McCown. They've always had that backup quarterback going into OTAs, going into minicamp. They did not do it this time. That's kind of telling me that the Saints may be looking at possibly drafting a quarterback, a young quarterback in this draft. I mean, come on now. I mean, go. Don't if you don't believe me, go back and look at the free agency frenzy time round March. The Saints always, tried to go out here and get, a third quarterback. Look how quickly they signed Teddy Bridgewater to a 1 year deal last year. It wasn't going into
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't after the draft. It was before the draft. So I look at what the Saints are trying to do right now. It looks to me like they're possibly going to be drafting a quarterback. I mean, if you're just paying attention to I guess like the steps or the moves that they're making, man, it seems like they're going to draft a quarterback.
That's what it smelled like to me.
Yeah.
And that's really what it smelled like to me. I mean, whether it's gonna come in somebody, whether it's gonna be Love out of Utah State, or
Hmm.
whether it's gonna be somebody else that they've been working out, but they really like this dude Love.
Yeah.
They did a video interview with the dude for
Yeah.
goodness sake. So I mean, they still recruiting and doing their due diligence to find them a quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be nobody else discreet. I think they're gonna actually draft somebody, and then when Drew Brees retired next year, or year after that, whatever, Taysom Hill and this guy just going, go head to head for that starting job pretty much.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, I think that you need to bring somebody in that could challenge Taysom Hill. I said all the time, I don't think you just need to give him the keys to the car. You got to make him earn it, man. You can't just say, okay, man, you've been a bold soldier all these years. We're gonna give you the team. Nah, man, you got to make him work for it. But let's go ahead and move on. This question comes from Isaac Calvert, and it says, "One of my friends say the Bucks are a better football team than the Saints. What are your thoughts on this?" I'll go ahead and let you start. The Bucks, they're making some good moves, man. New uniforms, looking fresh. Look like they're trying to go back to the throwback days of the days of Derrick Brooks and Warren Sapp with the uniform. And now you have arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, Tom Brady, at the helm. Your thoughts, are the Bucks today better than the New Orleans Saints?
Uh, yeah, they're not better than New Orleans Saints. I mean, it's not biased. I mean, I still think they still got a slip showing in a
Hmm.
few different places or whatever.
Right,
And they probably got a great duo at wide receiver with Mike Evans and Goodwin.
right.
I think they probably missing a running back.
Hmm.
Just got to see what that offensive line gonna do.
Right,
What they gonna do in the draft. Defense. I mean, you got Devin White. I
right,
mean, if anybody seen LSU last year, you know kind of a beast he is.
right.
So in their secondary, they probably need some work out there.
Yeah,
I was telling my brother earlier that if they would have got Ty Gurley, I mean, they kind of. I mean, I think he's already better than the Falcons
yeah,
and Carolina, to be honest with you.
yeah.
As far as the NFC South, I think they second fiddle to the Saints.
Right.
Saints got one of the top five rosters in all of the league, if not top three.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's like the consensus. So I think that, the Saints are the best in the South. The season starting now. I give Tampa Bay maybe 8 or 9 wins, I believe, with
Yeah,
a chance to make the playoffs, you know, being second in the division.
yeah.
Maybe a wild card at 9 and 7.
Hmm. Well, I look at it this way. I don't think that they're a better team than the New Orleans Saints. Do I think they're a better team than last year? Absolutely. I mean, you bring in Tom Brady, I mean, your team automatically just becomes a playoff contender. I understand the buzz around Tampa, and no disrespect to them because, I don't really hate Tampa as much as I dislike the Atlanta Falcons. Like, I just don't like the Atlanta Falcons fan base or lack thereof. But Tampa, I can understand the buzz, and how excited they are. I mean, they barely had anything to chill about over these past 10, 12 years. So I can understand like them being happy about possibly being a playoff contender. But man, let's slow your roll real quick, man. The Saints are still a better team. The Saints are still more battle tested than them. The Saints still defensively are better than them, in my opinion. I think that when you bring in leadership like Malcolm Jenkins to help with the secondary, I think that's going to help improve. I think the Saints are going to probably add some more pieces. As we get closer to the season, that'll be able to help them generate the success that they need. I just think that the New Orleans Saints is just a better team. And the last time we have to remember that the New Orleans Saints won this division last year before Thanksgiving, or on Thanksgiving, I should say. So as long as the Saints are division champs, they are the best in the division. I mean, unless a team is going to knock them off, I got to see what Carolina is going to do, what I like to call New Orleans Saints light, or you know what I'm saying. I got to see what the Atlanta Falcons are going to do. I mean, Atlanta Falcons, yeah, they got Ty Gurley, but what else have they done? You know, except get some, some uniforms, I guess. I guess that's the new wave in the South. But I just think that the Saints are a much better football team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in my opinion, could be a playoff team. I feel like they need a running back. Like you said, I'm still, raising the eyebrow at the offensive line, but you don't bring Tom Brady in without discussing offensive line, especially for a quarterback that stands in the pocket similar to Drew Brees. You're going to need an offensive line that'll give him some time to deliver the football. This goes to the next question. Comes from Jamal. He says, "Do you think we're going to win the division in the NFC this year?" I'm gonna go ahead and start this one. I think we are going to win the division for the fourth time. I just think that the Saints are just better than these other teams. Will some of these teams be more successful? Yes. Will it be a little bit more competitive in the South versus last year? Absolutely. It just seems like to me everybody is just trying to build their team around trying to beat the Saints. And the Saints are the standard. The Saints are not only the standard in the South, but they're one of the standards in the NFC. I mean, a lot of teams out there are trying to duplicate what the Saints do. They're trying to, as far as what the offense is concerned, and they wish they had like the leadership of Drew Brees. I mean, you look at how can you counteract Drew Brees? You go out there and get Tom Brady. So the Saints, in my opinion, are the best team in the South. I think they still are going to win the South. I think it's going to be close. It might even come down to like week 17. It might even be a flex game that we're talking about to see who's going to win the division. But needless to say, I think the Saints are going to get the job done. E, what do you think about the Saints winning the division?
Okay, I'm gonna play Nostradamus here. I'm gonna run it down to you right here. Saints gonna be first in the division. They're gonna go 11-5.
Okay.
Carolina Panthers. Yes, that's right. The Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers gonna go 10-6 this year.
Okay.
Yep, I said
I can see that.
10-6. So I said Tampa Bay won like 9 games, 9-7, 8-8. Falcons won 6 games this year. That's the order of the NFC South right now. One of these teams they're gonna have an injury. The Carolina Panthers, they're gonna shock a lot of people. They're gonna come in, they're gonna run that same style offense. These receivers that they got, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, they kind of made me nervous.
Right.
They got a lot of speed at receiver. Plus, you got Christian McCaffrey, who's pretty much like a receiver anyway.
Right.
He running routes just like one. Then you got Teddy Bridgewater running the offense. And you got Joe Brady from LSU. I mean, everybody seen what he did last year.
Right.
So Teddy Bridgewater, he's just looking for redemption.
Right.
So I do think Carolina makes the playoffs with the Saints. I do think they fight. You just said a flex game. Usually we always play Carolina.
Right.
The last game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that division will come down to one game at the end of the year. I think it's probably going to be in Carolina. It's probably going to be in Carolina the last of the year. Yeah. But I think the Saints do win that game. I think it's like a tug of war the whole year for us, like the NFC South.
Right.
For us, like the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, you still got the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, right. You lose Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah.
And what the other guy they lose? Armstead, I believe the dude name is. Dude went to the coach.
Yeah, Eric Armstead.
They lose him. Yeah, but I mean, they still. I mean, that's still your NFC champions right there.
Yeah.
Green Bay. I think they may take a step back. A team they might take a step up. Not as far as in the NFC, but maybe just in the division, the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna be improved. Christian Kirk, Fitzgerald, and then you got Hopkins.
Yeah.
Woo, that's a receiving core right there.
Mm-hmm.
I just think those are some of the things that's gonna happen in the division or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the Cardinals probably have a good chance of actually winning the West.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get off topic. Saints, I mean, I'm kind of not sure about them being, one of the best teams in the NFC. But will they win the NFC? I don't know. I mean, we've kind of been, struck down with these one and done.
Yeah, snake
the last few years. So we kind of got post-traumatic stress from all these one and done playoff losses or
Right,
whatever. So I
right.
don't really know how to feel about them.
Me neither. I mean, man, you made some great points. I sit up here and I try to look for answers, and honestly, I mean, I come up here and I do the State of the Saint podcast. I put out videos every day, and I still don't know what type of team that this team is going to be this season. I'm really last season. I was a little bit more confident because I was just so angry about the NFC Championship game, man, and nothing in the regular season really mattered to me. Like I was just like, just get to the playoffs, just get to the playoffs, and I was just kind of coasting through it. This season, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have that same type of optimism that I had last year. I still think they're going to be successful. I still think they're going to win the division. But I don't know what type of team this is going to be. I don't know if they're going to be much better than they were last season. I don't know if some of the losses are going to, take its toll. I mean, because we can pretend like all we want. We can pretend like, oh, this doesn't matter, but it does, man. Every single year, teams get better and better. Like teams start hitting in the draft, teams start hitting in free agency, and the momentum that you once had, teams are going to slowly, gradually start catching up to what you're doing. And I think the New Orleans Saints, honestly, man, like this season right here, it's now or never. Like I hate to say it, but after this season, if the Saints don't make it, it might be a while before they actually get to a level in which we've seen in the past, man. I mean, these last 3 seasons have been magical. It's going to be hard to duplicate that once you look at Drew Brees possibly retiring and some other guys who, going to end up having to leave because the Saints aren't going to be able to accommodate everybody. You're going to have to look at this team and reevaluate, and you have to use the word that a lot of people don't want to use in their organizations, and that's called rebuild, man. I mean, it's just the truth. That last question comes from DJ Austin. He says he's talking about Cam Newton, and he says, "Can the Saints pick up Cam Newton, and could he be a possible backup for Drew Brees?" And the next question I think he has, he says, "But besides all of that, if Love is on the board, should we get him?" Well, I think we answered that question already. And are we going after a linebacker? So, shouts out to DJ Austin, man, on Instagram. He submitted his question, so thank you very much, brother. Last week we answered this question talking about Cam Newton. We said that Cam Newton didn't want to. We don't see Cam Newton wanting to be a backup quarterback. I think he still looks at himself as a starter. I look at him as a starter. I just think that he just had some bad luck over the past couple of years. And I think that he'll end up being a starter somewhere, rather it be in Los Angeles or he'll probably even be in Denver. But I think that he'll end up being a starting quarterback somewhere. And as far as Jordan Love, I think we talked about this earlier, E. What we say? We said that the Saints are possibly looking at him. I can't remember the last time the Saints had a virtual conference or a sit-down conference with a quarterback in the first round. I mean, maybe they did, but they just didn't report it. I don't know. But let's talk about this linebacker question. Do you think the Saints can get a linebacker in the first round?
Hmm.
Is it
I mean, that's a
imperative
poss-
too? Is it imperative
I,
too?
is it imperative to get a linebacker in the
Yeah,
first round?
yeah. Is it important?
No.
Yeah, yeah.
They're interested in Jordan Love. I say if they're interested in him, they should just go and pull a trigger and try to get this guy.
Right.
Linebackers, I think he's going to be there. Though he's not going to get Isaiah Simmons.
Oh
You
no.
might get the guy from you might get the guy from Oklahoma.
Yeah, Kenneth
I mean, you
Murray.
might get
Yeah.
yeah, you might get Patrick Queen.
Yeah.
I mean, you might get one of those three.
Mm-hmm.
But they linebackers, they got some good linebackers in the draft, but this is not a linebacker draft.
Oh
I
no,
mean,
no,
you
it's
look at
not.
this draft or whatever, they got some hellified defensive people. They got some hellified wide receivers and everything in
Oh
this draft.
yeah.
Not as deep in the later rounds for quarterbacks.
Mm-mm.
So if you like somebody like a Jordan or whatever, I mean, go ahead and pull a trigger. As far as
Right.
Cam Newton, I mean, the Saints already got cap problems. And Cam Newton as a backup quarterback,
Mm-mm.
nah.
Nah, I mean,
If he's not your future, I mean, yeah, if Drew Brees get hurt, maybe you can plug and play, but I think that's going to be too expensive. And
right.
you just made Taysom Hill a first round. like first round trade bait. Say if somebody wanted to trade for him,
Right.
basically they had to give him give you a first round draft pick.
Yep.
So why would you do that? Then turn around and get Cam Newton to be your backup quarterback with Taysom Hill your
Good
third
question.
string quarterback?
Good question.
That don't make any sense.
No, it don't.
So I think Cam Newton, he not gonna want to sit on the bench. And man, he's been a starter all these years, wearing his funny outfits and whatnot. But I digress. I think that guy want to actually start. I
Yeah.
don't think he wants
Yeah.
to be a backup. I think he want to start in this league or whatever. He's 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not gonna say the best years are behind him,
Yeah.
but his injury kind of slowed him down.
Yeah.
He don't have a lot of years. Well, I ain't gonna say that. If you look at Tom Brady, he's 42,
Yeah.
but Tom Brady don't get his hit as much as Cam Newton does. But he wants to start in this league. So if there's an opportunity for him to, start, I mean, I think that'll happen. Miami would be intriguing for him.
Oh yeah.
Say if
That's
he
a good
wants to
one.
go to Miami, but Miami, say if they sign Cam Newton,
Yeah.
they spend that first round draft pick on somebody else.
Yeah.
But maybe they want to get younger or something like that. So
Yeah.
this guy, they coach, he's from the Patriots. He can do that stuff the Patriot way. So believe me, trust me when I say he's not going to spend a lot of money on a quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, you also have to be on the lookout for Las Vegas too, man. I can see him. I mean, I don't think John Gruden is sold on Derek Carr. So I mean, that could be a landing spot for him too. But back to this whole linebacker situation. We talked about this last week about Kenneth Murray possibly being drafted to the New Orleans Saints. I know a couple scouts had him going to the Saints at number 24. I just don't see the Saints staying in that position. Somebody asked me this question on Facebook. Is Mickey Loomis going to try to trade up? In my opinion, yes, he is. I think the Saints are going to be aggressive in this draft because they know that the clock is ticking as far as with the career of Drew Brees. So they're going to try to do everything that they can. They have a transition, a transitional plan in place, or they're going to try to get somebody that can be a guy that can be out there right now that can be a key component to the success of the Saints. Uh, but as far as Patrick Queen, Kenneth Murray, man, I just don't see it. I just think that we were talking about earlier, the quarterback position, the Saints not getting a quarterback in free agency. Some of these quarterbacks that they actually had that were available, the Saints could have possibly gotten. They decided not to go that route. I think the Saints are going to aggressively try in the first round to get a quarterback. Okay, if they're going to try, I'm pretty sure if the first round ends and the Saints don't have a quarterback, the interview with Sean Payton, they're going to ask Sean Payton, what was your thoughts about, the pick and stuff like that. Of course, he'll give all that lip service like, oh, yeah, we like the pick. But I guarantee you, down the line when they're having questions, you're going to be like, well, we tried to trade up for that guy, just like he did with Patrick Mahomes. I mean? So I think if the Saints don't end up getting a quarterback, it's going to be because a team didn't want to agree to trade up with them or make a trade with them, or it's just the simple fact that the guy that they actually wanted end up going to earlier than they anticipated. But that's just my honest opinion. I just think they're going to go quarterback in the first round versus a linebacker. But this has been a State of the Saints podcast. And once again, thank you very much for submitting your questions on Facebook, Instagram, and also on Gmail. And if you do not know, you can always follow the State of the Saints podcast on Facebook, facebook.com. Search the State of the Saints podcast. Inbox me your questions. Also, Instagram, you can see down below, TJAY Jones _. You can hit me up in the DMs. And also, subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com. Search The State of the Saints podcast. And once again, EJ Jones, thank you very much, man. Appreciate the time. And, just thank you very much for, spending some time with us, man. This is a great escape, especially from what's going on in this world right now. So I really do appreciate your time.
Yeah, man, no problem. Stay in the house. Be safe.
Yeah.
Drink your elderberry syrup and drink your tea.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Everybody be safe out there. Be happy, be healthy, and stay home. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?